All right, are we live? We should be live in five, four, three, two, one. Welcome. Yeah, looks good. Did a little radio check there. Okay, welcome, wizard, warrior, wanderer, and wayfarer alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. Frank Monday broadcasting to you live from the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, Twilight Zone, Old Peking. Let's get into today's program and welcome one and all, whoever you are and wherever you are, right? If it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. All that happy horse shit that makes YouTube's algorithms bark like Pavlov's dog. Woof, woof, woof. I hope you're doing well, Wayfarer. I wanted to get you guys up to date on the 100-day challenge, Way of the Scholar Warrior. I'm in day 74 of my part of the challenge, and I'm working on the virtue of fortitude. So let me know down in the comments if you're working on your virtues, if you're taking part in the 100-day challenge this way around. Again, it's called the Way of the Scholar Warrior. So good, fun stuff for anybody that cares to join. I'm just checking the blurb real quick on YouTube to see if it all came out correctly. Yeah, cool. So I'll read this. Let me see here. Um, I can keep my camera on or off. It's up to you guys, whatever you like. I sometimes like to have it on, but I am just hanging out in what King Stephen calls a dirty wife beater. So the reason for that is because it's like oppressively hot right here in Beijing right now, and the apartment's air conditioning doesn't work. So I don't know exactly what the temperature is right now. Maybe I can check real quick if this will open. Yeah, it says it's 90 degrees in Beijing, mostly sunny. The high today was Fahrenheit 93, and tonight's overnight low is going to be 69. So it's oppressively hot, and I'm kind of feeling it. I got my paper fan somewhere. I've been fanning myself, but when I do fan with the microphone on, it does tend to irritate the sound. So I'll defer from doing that. But because I'm looking like warmed over dog shit, I'm going to probably keep the cam off most of the time. But know that I am here. I am the one behind the curtain. I am the man behind the curtain, as it were. So tonight I wrote in the description box, I wrote that I'd like to talk about a channel I discovered recently, or maybe I rediscovered it because I couldn't tell if I was like already subbed to it or not. And it seems like it would be something I would remember, but who knows? Maybe that's a little bit of a Mandela effect kicking in there, like amnesia, loss of memory. But anyways, with no further ado, it's called the Sanity Machine, and it's hosted by a guy named King Stephen. And I literally just kind of got the quip there. They had been saying it all day long, and I kept calling him King of Kings. And Stephen is the king. He's the king of kings. But I think there's something else going on there. So I'll leave that to you guys to discover. Over the last few days, I had some really strange dreams, and I was seeking to see beyond the veil, as it were. I was deep in dreamland, and I was beyond the fathomless cavern, and I was roaming through the labyrinth of echoes. I call it different things. You could call it the maze of mirrors, the labyrinth of echoes, right? There's different ways to look at it. I think there's a Hindu explanation for it as well, but my meanderings in these things came earlier, and with some influence from Lovecraft. But I had really strange dreams, and as I was seeking to go beyond, a trio of angels approached me, and these were these lucid dreaming, realer than real type liquid light beings, shimmering and appearing as very, very vibrant, powerful energy sources. And while I was deep there, they showed me some really queer and unusual visions of the future, of like coming Mandela effects that are hitherto unknown to the world and to me, of course, but that were going to be revealed in moments of synchronicity and when the veil is thrown back. And though I sought to bring back this divine gnosis of dreamland into the waking reality, for some reason, as per usual, this happens quite a bit. I bring back less than I discover, but it was snatched away from me as I crossed the threshold of the divide. And I arrived, what is it? I'm not going to say it. I had a naughty poem that I was thinking about, but I arrived empty handed, or so I had thought. Here's the funny thing: upon awakening, I had done my regular practices for Scholar Warrior, and I was looking, scrolling through the phone as one is wont to do, and I stumbled upon a video by Stephen of the Sanity Machine in his Esoterica series, and it was on the Mandela Effect. And after listening to it, I was like, "Oh my god!" And I had reflections and vivid memories of reconnecting with those images in Dreamland, and I was still a little bit jilted, a little bit miffed by the fact that I wasn't able to bring back any of those coming Mandela effects that they were revealing to me in Dreamland, in the Labyrinth of Echos. But so I binged dozens of his videos, and I felt a natural connection to his teaching and his sense of humor. And this morning, I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I had the opportunity. I watched, I did my practices, right, and then I was watching a couple of his videos like 6 a.m. a couple hours later. um, I discovered that the man behind the curtain was on, that he was doing a live stream. And so um, I jumped on there and I talked to him a little bit, and it was really cool, man. It was good fun. And I thought I'd debrief you guys on this and catch you up on some updates of the 100-day challenge. So, what I discovered is emerging from some people in this field of research. And I don't want to label things too much because it is a newly emerging field in the Aeon of Horus. And what I'm discovering is that people unfettered by the tethers of the mundane reality that we all kind of meander about in and are mired in the mucky muck, right? Um, there's emerging a new cosmology and even a new cosmology, right? The two cosmology being one's worldview of the universe, life, the universe, and everything. And then I had to distinguish between these two words recently. And the other one, cosmogony, is the origin of the universe and all that happy stuff, right? So some people like their Big Bang, others like their creation theory, but those are very, very narrow, limited views. So I thought, why is it I jived with King Stephen so much? And whenever I see that PH spelling in the name Stephen, I always think Stephen. But yeah, I do believe it's Stephen. So I was wondering why I jived with it. And so I got in there and I started doing some afternoon research this afternoon and listening to a few more videos. I dug in a little deeper to his Esoterica series. I watched, just off the top of my head, I watched Angels and Demons, Is It True or Not? And a couple of others. Let me see, Heaven or Hell, maybe. And that may have been all of that. I watched 3 or 4. I only wanted to watch a couple, though, because I don't want to try to, like, we have a saying in Chinese. We say that 不能一口吃成胖子, or you cannot become a fat ass or gain weight. I mean, the direct expression is you can't become a fat ass on one meal or one mouthful of food. So the idea is that you can't make huge gains in a single sitting, that you need to digest things slowly over time, and you shouldn't be in a hurry to get things done. This is supported by other great expressions like ba miao zhu zhang, which is like pulling at the grain to make it grow. And so these things are futile, essentially. Like this type of thing, trying to do this type of thing is somewhat futile. Sorry, I'll fan myself a little bit. It does feel like it's cooling off, though, and there is a breeze outside. The last couple of days, there's been really powerful thunderstorms, which is nice. I like that. I do have a couple of things loaded up here, though, and I am going to share them with you so you guys can stay on page with me. And Whether you're watching this now or later, please hit the old thumbs up button, like and subscribe, all that happy horse shit. Leave a comment on the video. Let me know what you think about the Sanity Machine if you've ever checked it out before, and any of the ideas we cover in today's transmission. So, the first thing I checked out was his web page. Let me see if this is going to work. It looks like my internet might want to fuck around. That's okay. Not select a window or screen. I'll just go with entire screen because for some reason I got kind of a glitch in my system and none of the buttons seem to work except for just like a select few. And so if I ever try to go outside those parameters, they punish me by like disconnecting or rebooting my system or something. Okay, so you can see all of that. Cool. Yeah, so here's his Odyssey page. And I've never checked out Odyssey before. He's got a special connection with the crow or the raven. So that's interesting. I've got a story of ravens that visited me once. Um, he's got all his videos here. And one of the things that I found like super funny was the way he causes like disorder and chaos. He's a bit of a chaos magician, really. I mean, he's never said it that I can see yet, but he's got some of the tendencies of chaos magic, which he might not even know, right? I probably does. I don't know, but I didn't know about chaos magic, and I was an unwitting practitioner for years. Um, but he's got this Esoterica series, which is really good. They're short, digestible videos, 20 to 30 minutes each, with key ideas, right? Um, he's got a lot of catchy phrases like Team Evil and Daemons. All right, some funny stuff. He's got a really good sense of humor, I think, and I jive with it. But not only that, he still has a solid understanding of this realm, its denizens, and kind of what's going on. And I the way I feel, the reason I'm trying to articulate why I think I jive with his content a little bit, quite a bit, in fact. It's because he leaves a lot of it open ended, which requires personal effort and research on your time. He's not trying to spoon feed you the horse shit of the ancients or the leftover pen scribbles of guys from the 1500s or even the 1800s or 1900s. He's engaging in the great work, right? The real spiritual alchemy and experimentation and observation on his own part without allowing a lot of what's already been said and done to influence his articulation of those ideas, which I think is really refreshing because not very many people do that. Um, Most people, you will discover pretty quickly on, are mired in doctrine and dogma, and they let even great doctrines become their dogma, and then they just become unwitting puppets of a system that was developed before they were born, and they maybe haven't examined it in the depth that it should be examined. I'll give you one example. There's a Jewish rabbi guy, that a doctor he calls himself, that I watch sometimes, and he's really fun. He's got a very intellectual um, investigation and analysis of all of the ancient magics, and into the modern times, but less so into the modern times, but more into like pre 15th century stuff. But he's never practiced magic, not even once, according to his own admission. And his intellectual examination of these things is very, very thorough, but he doesn't know what it's talking about, really, right? He can articulate on what he thinks they mean and stuff, and he can fantasize and hypothesize about what these paranormal experiences might have entailed, but he's never done it, and he's never seen anything. He's never had any paranormal experiences, and he doesn't really know magic. So is he a valid source on I mean, this other person that I'm talking about, would that be a valid source on this teaching? And the easy answer would be no. And there are many people that have sat down and digested a few books and then seek to articulate and profit off these kind of things on YouTube. Oh, that's another thing. He's not e-begging. He's not soliciting shekels all the time, which I occasionally do. I mean, feel free if you want to check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday and put a little something in the tip jar. You guys know that keeps the lead in my pencil. I enjoy it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I wanted to let you guys know that this is an open lines evening. It's June 13th, Thursday, June 13th, 2024, here in Twilight Zone, Old Peking. And it's just old Frank Monday hanging out, doing some live jive archive, as it were. I'm trying to debrief as to why I turned on to the Sanity Machine and why I think the channel is pretty cool, and I think it's worth you checking out. Um, so there is the information there in the what did I pin that? Was I able to pin it? It says I started, but I don't know what that means. You can star important comments so you remember to discuss them during your show. Oh, okay, that's cool. I've never seen that function before. I do know about banners though, so let me get this up here real quick. Um, I'll do a little house cleaning and rehead off the show. Give the header again. Welcome, Wizard, Warrior, Wanderer, Wayfarer, and Wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. Freighter Francis Lunas Aristeas of the OTAO broadcasting to you out of Twilight Zone, Old Peking, deep within the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon. We have really high pollution levels here today, guys. Man, it's fucking horrible out there. And like I said, it's like 90 degrees, but the wind is kicking up and I'm expecting thunderstorms. There have been powerful thunderstorms the last 3 nights in a row. Beautiful and invigorating. In fact, the first night of the thunderstorms, I ran out to the park near here ahead of the storm and climbed to the top of the highest hill to watch it firsthand. No fear of being struck by lightning. When you get to my age, you almost kind of start to challenge God and be like, hey, if you want to give me an out of the matrix, then do it. Just blast me with one of your heavenly bolts. But no, I'm not tempting fate. I just like to see all that lightning firsthand, and so that was good fun. I've got good footage. I took my cell phone camera and I shot, and I got probably 10 beautiful fiery plasma bolts. Right, divine fire. So that was good fun. I remind you that I am the self-appointed Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, the Eastern Star Division, here in Beijing. So if you are a local and you're interested in occult and esoteric practices, definitely drop me a line and let me know how you're doing. Because the time is now to step forward and stand up and be counted, as old DJ likes to say over there, talking all his horse shit and fooling people with his intelligentsia operation. The other thing I liked about the Sanity Machine, the Insanity Machine, really, right, is that he's not afraid to call people out and kind of throw a little shade, which I don't typically do. You guys know that I like to just kind of stay dialed in on the message, but I really enjoyed the way he does it. If I could do it with as much grace and candor as he does, I probably would, but I dare not because I can't, and I'm just not going to. I remind you guys that we are deep in the 100-day challenge, Way of the Scholar Warrior. I'm on day 74. I'm working on my 8th virtue, the virtue of fortitude. The ones I've covered so far in this series have been order, diligence, humility, dutifulness, sobriety, temperance, frugality, and fortitude. I've got 2 more after fortitude, and so I look forward to you guys participating with me if you're into that kind of thing. The old commingling of the spirit and the material. Finally, I did want to remind you, if it was your first time, don't let it be your last time. Welcome to everyone. If you do, jump over to buymeacoffee.com, Frank Monday, and check me out. There's a bunch of free material up there. I do have a few backstage articles, though, that I think are, kind of the level of secret teaching. And a one-time donation will get you a lifetime access to everything that's on there. And so I think the minimum donation is like $5 or something. So you do that one time and you're always on my mailing list. Again, your wish is my command. Abracadabra. So moted be. As always, guys, this is an open lines to any kind of paranormal encounters. So if you are out there in Happy Land and you want to talk about something spooky or funny that's happened to you recently, definitely chime in and let me know. I'll be here tonight for about an hour. That's about really all the time I have to stream. Which one of the bananas things about the Sanity Machine, that guy he was live streaming with a bunch of different people, and they taught me about something called, I discovered something. I mean, they told me about it. I asked them for a definition, but they told me about something called like the panel verse, which I had never heard about before. So that was brand new to me. And I guess what it is it's like different channels that host big open forum discussions like symposiums on their channel, and they let just like people join, and they, I guess, rap about it and talk shit and try to do like mutual research and discovery into all of these various topics that some people here in the what is it, alternative community, I don't know, people kind of trying to step outside the matrix a little bit, like to discuss. I didn't know, I did some research today and I did not know this, but Carl Jung, the great psychologist of 100 years ago or whatever, he did a lot of research into Taoism and the esoteric arts of Chinese Tao, because all of these guys, those guys, they brought forth so much from Hinduism, which I've never really been interested in. I like my Chinese Taoist approach, and that's kind of the one of the paradigms that along with Hermetic sciences and some Jewish mysticism and stuff like this, these are some of the tools that I use to help formulate my understanding of the realm that we find ourselves in. Wow, guys, we have got red skies right now, but it's overcast, so it looks like really kind of weird and spooky. I should probably show it to you, but it's almost like a diffused, it's sunset, of course, that's what's going on, but it looks like it's going to turn into be a very paranormal night. Oh, and I'm pretty sure I caught like a UFO on film when I was shooting the lightning storm last night. So I'm definitely going to go over that footage. I've looked at it several times, and there's definitely one anomaly. I don't know. I'll let you guys tell me what you think about it, but it kind of looks like a UFO shot across the screen. Could have been anything. That could have been a fucking leaf flying by or a bird shooting through the clouds, but it looks pretty legit. And there's another one where if you freeze the frame, now this just could be the reflection of shadows from water, but there's one section I've got, I don't know, dozens of clips, but there's this one section where I froze it on the lightning, and there's all of these like insect looking spaceships hanging around the bolt of lightning, and it looks pretty fucking spooky. But I'll have to show it to you again. I mean, there's so much going on when you're out in the middle of the night shooting lightning that you can't really trust half of it, as far as that goes. But another thing that Carl Jung worked on that I did not know about, and we're going to look a little more deeper at that tonight, is he was deeply into pneumatic processes, and he may have been the one that came up with this four phase model of awareness, recognition, knowledge, and mastery. I'm not sure. I learned this one a long time ago from Learning Strategies Corporations from Paul Sheely out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So that's where I got my training in pneumatic processes. The Roman room technique and all of that different kind of stuff with the Genius Code. But good fun, good listening of a good audio program. I would like to know which of the 10 virtues you chose to focus on during the challenge, Way of the Scholar Warrior. If you are participating, if not, don't worry about it. Maybe you can check it out or take part in my next 100-day challenge. I always like to keep up with what skills you're trying to master during this challenge. For me, it was more stair climbing is one of it on the physical aspect. And then on the spiritual aspect was the discipline of these virtues that I chose. And I'm basing that on Benjamin Franklin's, he did some writing in his Poor Richard's Almanac, and I believe it was in his autobiography where he talked about this method of mastering what each individual can consider to be virtues. Um, Oh, I forgot. I wanted to ask for divine guidance at the start of each session. So, you guys know I like to do a little prayer. I don't do it because I'm trying to rely on outside forces. I do it because I want to empower myself, right? So, Israel Regardi said, invoke often, inflame yourself with prayer. Let us ask for divine guidance at the start of each session. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Wow, guys, it's really getting red out there. Red skies. I feel like I'm on Mars. You know, someone once told me that Beijing was a lot like being on Mars. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I'm going to actually take you guys over to the window really quick if I can figure out this thing. If it doesn't disconnect on me, and I'm going to show you what's going on out there. I don't know how well you're going to. Anyways, I think we are back. We got disconnected there for a second, but I don't know if you guys were able to see that sky or not. But man, it looks like it's really going to be one of those days where there's a rending of the veil. Anyway, I was in an area of Old Peking called Nanlo Guxiang, and it's kind of one of the older districts in downtown Beijing where there are still lots of older buildings. And a bit of the dragon ley lines are there. That's why the emperor put his palace there. But I was cruising around, and I was teaching a swing dance class over there, and the sun was going down. It was much a night, much like tonight, or an evening, and I saw like how powerful the localized flaming soul could be. Like it was surrounded, like it looked like clouds were literally swirling around it, and that it was on fire, and I could almost see it well enough that I could perceive its fiery surface and like the emission of what they call solar flares. And you really got to think when you have that kind of perception of something. Sorry, you got to think, is it really 90 fucking 2 million miles away? But I'm kind of dubious of that equation. But anyway, after that, I taught my swing dance class. I had a really great swing dance class, and I felt like living dragon energy all around me that evening, and good fun, like really great fellowship and communion with other, like-minded seekers of happiness or whatever, joie de vivre, the joy of living. But that evening, I decided to go have a couple of beers and go downtown. And so I went to the old Drum and Bell Tower, which is reportedly very haunted. And I was walking around the old Drum and Bell. Now, this was quite a long time ago. I'm thinking probably like '05, maybe 2005, '06, possibly, pretty early in my arrival here. But because I had like a candy bar Nokia phone with a really shitty, like black and white, almost like, I don't even think it had a camera, but it had like a black and white screen, like blue and gray or whatever, text messaging type screen. So I was walking by and I was thinking about like the sunset that evening and how God, and this was before I had any knowledge of like what's so called going on in the truther community these days. Like I didn't know that the sun could be like localized under a celestial vault, dome, or I didn't know any of these ideas. Like these were things that were, I wasn't even thinking about scientific analysis of how far it was away. It just looked like it was right there. But that evening, as I was walking around, I was actively seeking out more paranormal experience, which is oftentimes when it happens. And flaming balls of energy started floating across the sky in front of me. And they were just perfectly round. They looked just like the sun, but in very miniature form. And the first one flew by, like floated by at a fairly brisk pace, but not fast. But it's floating by, and I was looking at it like, oh my God, what is that? It's like a little plasma ball of red fire. And I'm staring at it, and I'm thinking, like, how is this possible? Is it on a string? Is it on a wire? Because it had such like a perfect arrow straight trajectory that I thought that it was some sort of like, trick, or I didn't even at all think that it was like a UAP, what they call these days, like any type of spiritual phenomena or unidentified aerial phenomena. And definitely didn't look like a UFO. It looked like ball lightning, but not ball lightning, ball flame. It was a plasma ball of living fire, and it almost had like a breathing type quality to it and a sentience. And it flew by in perfect formation, right? Floated by. And I thought, what the fuck? I was just so astounded that I went into a kind of apotheum state, like time dilation, and kind of started to figure, who I was and where I am and all of this. And I'm looking around at other people and wondering why they didn't look at it or see it. And right when I thought that, another one appeared and floated by on the exact same trajectory, heading, velocity, everything. And there's some Chinese guy walking by looking down at his cell phone, and I like roused his attention. I'm like, hey dude, hey, look up. And he looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like he wanted to slap me or something. And I pointed up at the ball of plasma floating through the sky, and I'm like, do you see that? And he looked up and he's like, yeah, shook his head, yeah. And I'm like, shrugged my shoulders like, what the fuck? And he like shook his head, looked right back down at his phone, and kept walking like he just didn't give a fuck. And I looked around. There were several other people walking by, most of them staring at their phones, and as NPCs are wont to do these days. And nobody seemed to care. And in total, I think 5 balls came into existence, flew by in front of my field of vision, probably less than 100 yards away in front of me, up in the sky. I would say off the ground, maybe 60 or so feet, 50 to 60 feet up in the air, about maybe, I don't know, 50 to 75 yards in front of me. And I stood there, and they appeared, they manifested, apported off the right hand side of my field of view and floated in that straight trajectory toward the drum tower, and then disappeared out of existence, not out of view. It was a clear night that night, but disappeared out of my range of view as they approached the bell tower. and it happened like 5 times in a row, and I didn't know if I was like stuck in a strange loop, like a time loop or something. And I to this day I can't fully explain it. One of the interesting things about these types of paranormal encounters, I never really told anybody about it. I wrote it down in my journal. I might have mentioned it to my wife or something, but the the one of the things I learned from an old Taoist master about these type of spiritual phenomena is he said that you really shouldn't talk about them that much. You should internalize them over time and try to maybe figure out what they mean to your personal spiritual message. He said, but each time that you retell them or something, or like get excited about it and talk about it to other people, he said it actually lessens the value of that spiritual event in your life. Now I don't know if there's any accuracy to what he said or not, but it kind of feels that way. Like the memory you may detract from the memory a little bit, or the experience itself somehow loses the ethereal quality that it had, or I don't know what it is, but I think you need to really kind of be wary and of the paranormal stories that you tell other people, because number one, they're probably just going to think you're a fucking lunatic to begin with, right? But the other thing too is, if there is some, like the Sanity Machine says, if there's some degrading quality to the value of your original spiritual essence through this realm, and it's sometimes horrific, nightmarish interaction with us, then maybe those are better kept secret. I know that sometimes your desires and plans and your Aladdin's lamp magical wish list is definitely something you want to keep secret. The big ideas you're working on, you should keep those secret until you start to bring them to fruition. But the old adage says, to dare to know and to be silent, and there definitely there is something to that. But at the same time, can we stand idly by and say nothing? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we do have to share some things sometimes with some people. I am going to take a short break, guys, so I'll go ahead and I'll put that up in the chat here. I will say I'm going to take a 5 minute bathroom break, and then what is it, BRB? Is that what the kids are doing these days? Bathroom break. I do looking forward to seeing you on the other side of the bathroom break. I hope you stick with me. Old Frank Monday, broadcasting to you from Twilight Zone, Old Peking, deep within the central kingdom of the celestial dragon. I'll be right back, everyone. All right, and we are back. I probably should have thrown on some like ambient music so there wasn't dead air on the video. Sorry about that, guys. I will throw on the camera real quick to show you that it is I, Frater Francis Lunas Aristeas of the OTA, your host here in Twilight Zone Old Peking, broadcasting to you. I do always like to remind everyone at the time of the break to check me out on buymeacoffee.com and pull something in the tip jar. Not going to engage in much e-begging, but I will remind folks a fiver, a tenner, a penny are never looked down upon by old Frank Monday because I am self-appointed Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, Eastern Star Division, and the time is now, guys. Join me on the Lunar Light Entertainment Discord and get some behind-the-scenes chatting in if you want. I try to typically go live periodically. I don't do it a lot though, because it doesn't seem like there's much market to it. Not the individual talking head doing podcast style live streams, but you never know. There may be a market for it one day. But one thing I do like to do is engage in a cooperative effort, communicating with people online and doing the 100-day challenge. I always try to come up with a new one each term. I do two a year. I do one to honor the spring equinox and the autumn equinox, so the equinoxes. But with that said, they'll start before the equinox and then end it around the time of the solstice. So it honors all four quarters of the great Yod He Vav He Adonai Elohim Vegubra Vegudla Agela Leolam. So all that happy stuff. You guys know I like my Jewish mysticism. It's good fun, if nothing else. Helps focus the mind and concentrate some frequencies, hopefully in the right direction. Who wrote the books, right? They might be lying to us. But I like to think that there were some big figures in the scene that had pure intentions and were good guys, like Israel Regardi. I like him a lot. I think Eliphas Levi left behind some toilet paper that we can pick up and read. Maybe wipe our. No, I'm not going to say that. That's very disrespectful. I don't like to be too sacrilegious or blasphemous, but I have noticed that old King Stephen over at the Sanity Machine, he definitely is not scared to verge on sacrilege a little bit and blasphemy, which is something I like about him a lot. I myself, sorry about that, taking a little sippy poo off of my fermented beverage because I am trying to get some downtime. It's been a harrowing 3 to 4 days with serious thunderstorms here in Beijing. Uh, we've also been having very hot temperatures, getting up in the mid 90s during the day. It has been cooling off at night, though, and that beatific, is that the right word? Divine breeze has been blowing in and blasting the sky wide open with the thunderous call of Zeus. So that's good fun. Nothing wrong with that. I love heavy thunderstorms. And it feels like there might be another one coming on again tonight. So good stuff, man. Only the evildoer need cower before the storm, right? But let's see. Okay, I want to continue down the list here. This is a shout out to the Sanity Machine and the Halls of Amenti. If you check out the Sanity Machine, you'll get the joke. That second half is a reference. It's entirely satire. The first one is the name of the channel. I believe that's the channel name. Just like that. Let me see. I'll show you again here in a minute. A part of this 100-day challenge has been a focus on learning about the three treasures in Chinese Taoism, which they call Jing, Qi, and Shen. Give me a second. I got to sneeze. Uh, King Stephen says that whenever he sneezes, he blows the pointy hats off of Chinamen over here in China, knocks over junks, and sends dudes flying off their rickshaws. So funny that kills me. So funny. Good entertainment, really. And in with other things. So anyway, the three treasures, Jing, Qi. I don't need to blow too much smoke up his ass. He knows I like him. The three treasures of Jing, Qi, and Shen. The Jing is located in the Chinese system. There are three dantians within the body. These are energy fields or elixir fields. In the Hindu system, they're known as like is there 7 or 9 chakras? I've never really learned it, so I don't know it that well. But in the Chinese system, there's just 3 centers, 3 heat centers in the body that are called dantians. So the lower dantian is like, it's the point where everyone does their belly breathing and the lower diaphragmatic breath, the contemplation of the navel. So it's located approximately 2.5 finger widths below the navel and 2.5 to 3 finger widths in from that point. That's at the center of the body there inside the navel. That would be the lower dantian, where it's and you put it's an attention fixation point, of course. So when you're going into self hypnosis or inner alchemy, you will put the attention at the lower dantian. It's one of the dantians you'll use. And then the next one is the center dantian, which is basically center of the what's that bone called at the center of the chest bone? The zygomatic? No, that's in the face. No, the sternum. So yeah, like right at the sternum. And as a part of our practice in the Oriental system, each morning when you wake up, you can gently tap that area, like the sternum. Um, I guess the chakra system, it's like the sun dantian or the sun center. I'm not sure, I forget. But you can pound it 50 times to awaken like the spiritual shen. What do they call it? They call it in Chinese. It's called shenju, which would be like spirit wine. Yeah, the direct translation would be spirit wine into English. And so if you pound that 50 times each morning, that will help freshen up that spiritual mind that keeps you in your flow state. Um, I also, because of my study of the Western system, I like to consider it to be where the Christ consciousness is, the holy guardian angel of the Jesus Cristo in each one of us, right? That we bring about through the alchemical marriage of Christian Rosenkreuz, right? Sun and moon in a box, swirling from top to bottom. And then the upper dantian is the third eye area, like in the Hindu system, and in the Chinese system, it's displayed a little differently. It's a little more esoteric. You would have to endeavor to study it on your own. Awakening your third eye and knowing about the 100 meeting point at the top of the head. Like if you imagine the dome of the cranium, and then try to find its center point on the top of your head. That's where the celestial thread connects. The cosmic particle enters the human body. Okay, so the Jing is in the lower dantian. Now you know where the 3 dantians are, right? So because you have to understand those are a foundation of the next, understanding the energies within them. The Jing at the bottom one is like the seminal fluids and all of the life producing fluids and the fluids that want to effluvulate out of the body. And they are the trace elements of your longevity. If you release those too often, you will die young and deplete your bone marrow. So don't do that. For the men, it's like the semen, right? The Jing Qi, the entire ejaculatory fluid, and that energy, that heart beating energy of all that energy that swells and gives you the 4 attainments on your magic wand. And it's the same in women, but it's understood differently. And I'm not a woman, so I don't fully understand it. And my all of my teachers in the Oriental arts have always told me that men should not teach women, women should teach other women. So that's in that area of sexual alchemy. I think on the other levels of just spiritual meditation and awakening these energies and circulating them throughout the body, I think that's applicable, and I don't need to understand that as a woman. I guess I could contemplate it. I haven't, but I could. I don't think there's anything wrong with that type of visualization. I like Carl Jung's philosophy on human sexuality, and I think that we don't need to really go into it any deeper than that on a public channel like this. But anyway, so that's the Jing energy. It needs to be retained. You can't let it constantly escape into the world. That's a part of the degrading, like Sanity Machine called it. The world is, breaking you down, destroying your original energy. Yeah, your original energy in Chinese is known as the Yuan Qi, and that's going to be the next one. So the Qi is the breath of life, the life force, the Christ consciousness, and it's located at the center dantian, and it's actually the breathing function, right? And all of the things associated with the respiratory function and that whole area of the upper organs that are the core organs inside the body, right? And you're supposed to keep those filled with vibrant energy and rising like stars into your celestial palace within your body. Um, people who let those become lax and sag down into the world and develop, the huge. I won't get into too much time of a body horror on this transmission, but you know the idea. If the organs will drop from the upper, like from a firm upright position in the torso down into a sunken, deflated type position on the body, and that changes the shape of the body. So I'll leave it there. And then Shen is in the upper Dantian, and it's spirit, right? So it's the spiritual energy, the deep connection with the soul, and the intellect, and all of the functions of the cranium and the brain, and that type of energy, and the pineal gland, the pine cone, and all of that wonderful stuff, the jade pillow, and the nine palaces, and the third eye, of course, and then the 100 meeting point. But the fun thing that probably a lot of people in Western arts don't know, that at the bottom of the inner part of the mouth, the roof of the mouth, there is a pore that opens like the one on top of your head. And that pore will open when you've circulated that lower Jing and Qi up into the upper Dantian. It will transform and enliven and coalesce in the brain, and then coagulate down into a very strong elixir through the pineal gland, through the pine cone, and then come down into a single drop of that uh, shenju that I was talking about a moment ago, that spiritual wine. And that spiritual wine will not imbibe drunkenness, but it will induce sobriety, in fact. And that energy can be mm, swallowed down and cultivated back into the center dantian again, you know, and that's where it's stored. So you'll move that fire energy of the center dantian down into the lower dantian, and then transform the mud pill all the way up the spinal column, right? Drinking the energy up into the brain, and then its arrival, expansion, and alchemical transformation in the brain, the lower energies being transformed into higher energies, and then being drunk back down into the being. So that's the understanding of the three treasures. Now, each of the three treasures produces one of the three gifts of the spirit, which, if you preserve your Jing, the lower one of the lower Dantian, which I call the infernal Dantian, it preserves your longevity. If you cultivate the center Dantian one correctly and bring about its alchemical transformation, then and cultivate the Qi and the balance of emotions, then its gift is prosperity. Like all forms of prosperity, material wealth and spiritual wealth, and so on and so forth. And then the top one, the upper Dantian, its reward for correct cultivation is fertility. And the fertility here is talking about like a super sensual, spiritual fecundity, giving birth of, additional spirits and beneficial energies from yourself and into the world, the whole creator function, like bringing about more beings like yourself, which can be a kind of physical fertility, childbirth, that type of thing, if that's a part of your path. But those were the three high virtues and attainments of the Taoists, part of their goals in their spiritual cultivation here in the material realm. Of course, with a cosmology, that includes that we are roaming spiritual beings that are born into the world, the whole cycle of reincarnation and all of that, and sometimes direct manifestation and even penetration from the unseen realm and into another body. That so spirits that have been displaced and re-entered back into the world, high achieved spirits that can choose the place and conditions of their birth so that they do come in with a lot of pre-birth knowledge, right? What we in Chinese Tao is called pre-heaven. So there's pre-heaven and post-heaven formations of the Bagua, which is the octahedron. The I Ching is the 64 hexagrams that are generated from its code. So there are 8 different levels of energy, right? The 4 primary energies, and then their yin-yang alternatives. Those can be expressed in a myriad of different correspondences, but one of the, let's see, as you work on building your astral temple and within your magic, if you're prone to the study of Western ceremonial magic, then you go from things like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram to building an astral temple and cultivating to higher and higher levels within your astral temple. There will be things that awaken to you that I won't tell you about my personal discoveries on some of the higher realms of expression, but I could certainly lead you to them and see if you have a similar, uh, uh, what's the word, proclivity towards feeling that way. And some of it's so overt and forthright that it's like really easy to say and so simple to see, but at the same time, uh, subtle enough that I think each individual should arrive at through their own discovery. Like the advancing of the pentagram ritual, once you've studied it to higher levels than your own, transformations and implementations of it are somehow useful. It is a bit of a tool, right? Like a code breaking apparatus, and I think helpful. But you can cultivate in any level in that way, whether it be calligraphy, poetry, dance, whatever. I'd say some of the too much mundane or prosaic sports don't lend too much more than, a feeling of gliding in flow state and being in a bliss. But yeah, anytime you develop a level of achievement in those, then you're definitely reflecting that process. The other thing is the basic mimetic process of, number one, if you've never heard any of these ideas before, like the Dantians and the way the folks in the Taoist tradition view these energies within inside the body, like the body itself is a workshop of like an internal alchemical process that is in some way helping your spirit, or else your spirit wouldn't have gone through this kind of transformation and been interested in it. But that's again, too, that's if you believe that you did dwell prior to this life in the spirit realm, and if you have any memory of that, and being able to make clear discernments and judgments about which of those. Carl Jung called a lot of them induced hallucinations, like self-induced hallucinations, and you want to kind of be wary of too much skeptical thinking too, though, at the same time, because very little will happen to the man who does not have faith, right? So, and it has to be all, done through a pseudoscientific method of your own personal experience with that workshop and what you think that means interacting on this prime material plane. Some of these things that are focused on in our community never necessarily even occurred to you if you're in a different type of practice than that. Like some of these ideas that arose in 2015 and 2017 and may have been like retro type thinking on a almost like a transformation of what had become the new age type spiritual understanding. So yeah, everything has to be balanced. um, let's see. So that's the Scholar Warrior. Yeah, that's what it means. And I am studying the One's. I don't think read you guys a chapter today, unless you want me to. If you do want me to, put it down in the comment box. Looks like there might be, in fact, someone watching. Hey, free gift from God is here, man. How you doing? Good to see you. Um, I am going through a little bit of a debrief on some experiences I've had over the last few days, and I thought I would share them here and then do some updates on the Scholar Warrior. So let's see, throw that back up here. Yeah, and I think I had a couple of more ideas planned. So if you have any questions, or if I took any or prepared any notes here, yeah, I did. They're on the description of the video itself. So is my sound quality okay? Can you hear me all right? Free gift from God. If you are able to hear clearly, give me a little feedback. Yeah, here we are. So I had these series of dreams and visions from dreamland, and then upon waking, I had the algorithm suggested me a video, or it was a video that just randomly appeared, or possibly I had found it in inquiry and searching in the past and just forgot that I was subbed. I might have been subbed the whole time. I remember I subbed some things that, quite a few channels in the early days of joining YouTube. So watched a few videos, and maybe it's just been a long time since I recommended the videos, but I watched it and it was really good fun. And then I wanted to do a little live stream of my own. I just wanted to go about an hour though, and it's already been an hour now. So free gift from God. If you are out there, give me a heads up, man. Give me a shout out. Um, I will double check here. I had done a video. I don't know if you guys, any of you have seen any of the audiobooks I've read, but I've read a few Lovecraft stories, and here is one. I don't know if I can post a link in here or not. Let's see if that works, and then I'll try to show it. But this is a video that I posted. I don't even remember when. Let's see. It's one of my renditions of Lovecraft's The Silver Key. It was made 1 year ago. It says January 18th, 2023. And it is 33 minutes long. Coincidentally, right? Interesting. And so that's that's only half an hour. It's a good little listen. It's a good book. I think I did a pretty good job on reading it. There might be one mistake on it, maybe none. I don't know. I'll let you see if you can hear it. I don't know if it will play.
Little by little, until at last he was cut off altogether. No more could his galleys sail up the river Okranos past the gilded spires of Thran, or his elephant caravans tramp through perfumed jungles in Cled, where forgotten palaces with veined ivory columns sleep lovely and unbroken under the moon. He had read much of things as they are, and talked with too many people. Well-meaning philosophers had taught him to look into the logical relations of things, and analyze the processes which shape his thoughts and fancies. Wonder had gone away, and he had forgotten that all life is only a set of pictures in the brain, among which there is no difference betwixt those born of real things and those born of inward dreams, and no cause to value the one above the other.
Yeah, all right. So there's just a little sample. That's The Silver Key by H.P. Lovecraft. I recorded a rendition back on January 18th, 2023, so a little over a year ago. It's got 42 views on it. You might check it out and give it a view. Yeah, so good one. I did another one too, The Alchemist. That's one of his first stories, and it's really good. I enjoy that story. Let's see, anything else going on here? Oh, yeah. I wanted to share my screen. Let me find the video I'm looking for, though. Or the page, rather. Sorry. Nope. Must be in the other direction. Okay, yeah. There we go. So I'll give a shout out to this program. I used to listen to this show a lot, and I thought it disappeared. Let me see here. Why is it doing that? Oh, okay. And I thought it had disappeared, but no, it is. It looks like they made a show a year ago, so maybe that's when I thought it had disappeared. No, I don't think so. I thought maybe I hadn't looked at it in much longer amount of time than that. I can't remember exactly. Let's see here though. But yeah, it's called Radio Mysterioso, and I guess the guy's name is Greg Bishop. And it's a podcast, like a paranormal podcast, in-depth conversations on the paranormal, alternating with weird music, occasionally live on Sundays. I don't think he's gone live in a long, long time, though. I don't know how much truth there is to that. Maybe I'm just not connected through the website. It used to be on Apple, like Apple Music or the App Store or whatever, but now it's no longer. You can't get it off there. And if you didn't have it saved to your phone, like old shows, then they are now deleted. But I do actually have an old iPhone 4 that I think I still have like 2 or 3 shows on. I've got like 15 shows of the Hermetic Hour on that phone. And so those can never be lost or changed per se, because it's not supposed to connect to the internet, but it still works. I use it like an MP3 player. It's an old iPhone 4S. Yeah, so that's that channel. This was the latest show. I haven't listened to this one, but I listened to probably every one of his past shows before this, and I'm not exactly how many shows there were. Does it even say? Is there a show listing about archived and lost shows? There's not really. There's an about section. Program in-depth conversations, paranormal, blah blah blah. We read that already. I've been doing a radio on the former for 14 years. First weekly show called The Hungry Ghost. out of KBLT in Los Angeles. Nice. A lot of fun. 21 responses. Okay, very good. Anyway, I just thought I would show that to you guys. It's a very good show. I think this click here will let you access some of the older shows. Not sure. Update shows from 2005 2008, and that's the only thing available. That's not the inclusivity of his shows, though. Definitely not. So I don't know what's up with that. Um, some of the classic shows. Oh, he's going to create Los Angeles from 97. Okay. Anyway, I'll learn more about that later. I just thought I would introduce that to you guys if you're at all interested in that type of thing. Good fun though. Is Free Gift from God still here in the ideas room? It doesn't look like it. Let me see here. Any comments in the comment section? No. Okay. Let me throw up some banners then and roll out of here and sign off, guys. Make sure to check me out on the old coffee website and do the thing there. 100-day challenge. Join the 100-day challenge if that type of thing at all interests you. And call in anytime with your paranormal encounters or any other strange and unusual stories you'd like to share. And finally, invoke often, inflame yourself with prayer. Ad astra per aspera. Oh, okay, you are here. Free Gift from God. I hadn't seen you responding at all in the ideas room, so I was going to roll out of here. I had planned on doing about an hour originally, and we're at an hour now. But yeah, I thought if you wanted to chat, I'd stick around a little while. Are you out there? You got anything fun going on? So here we'll review some of the points I wanted to study this evening. The pneumatic processes. So becoming aware of a topic, a subject, something like the Dantians, and becoming to understand those, and then later on you hear about them again and you revisit the idea, you start to recognize them. You're like, oh, I'm already aware of those. I've learned something about them. I recognize them. There's pattern recognition. And then the next level being you have full knowledge of seeing those things. They're no longer unfamiliar to you. You not only recognize them, but you know them, right? And then finally, the last level of anything that you acquire, a new skill or piece of knowledge or talent or whatever, goes through the same process until you arrive at self mastery of it or mastery of it. Okay, not feeling well? That's not good. Gastrus or something? Wow, that's not good, man. Something you ate. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't eat no shit food, man. Are you there? Welcome back. Frank Monday broadcasting to you from way beyond the twilight zone. Hope you're doing well this evening, wanderer, wayfarer. You can't work? Oh, that's no good, man. Um, you got to work. But yeah, if you're feeling really, really dire, then Jesus, man, I don't know, get some good medicine. Uh, Stay at home and chill. Don't pass beyond the threshold, though, man. Stick around. So many people in recent times seem to have uh, gone the way of the lone warrior. Not a good thing to do, man. I love you, brother. I hope you do feel better soon, man. Get over whatever the fuck's been ailing you, because you had told me that a couple of days ago or more. So get into some deep prayer or firing up your Dantians and burn that shit out of you, man. Free Gift from God, everyone says. Let's send out a little prayer for you, too. If anyone else is out there in Happy Land, or if and when you hear this video, a little prayer for Frater Francis out in Jersey, the Jersey Devil. Make sure he gets to feeling better. You know, holy art thou, Lord of the universe. Similar to those healing spirits, you know, on red gold vibrating wings of beatific brilliance, you know, zooming in on you while you're sleeping and healing you. You got to have that good healing energy. I know how it goes, though, man. You know, we all get older and start to pass beyond the veil, day by day, one step at a time. Memento mori is why it's always there to remind us. Death with its rictus grin awaiting our arrival. They want you to think it's a scary prospect, but who knows? Do you, if you're endless consciousness, then you were here before this began, and you'll be here after it's over, and all of the memories in between. Those may or may not be accurate, and who knows? But you have to have your compass guiding you towards source, and however you determine that to be. I myself am average, man. I'm not going to say that I'm in perfect health either. Um, I'm as well as can be expected for my age, half of a century. I don't mind. People talk about dating themselves, and they're like, "Let's see, we've got some visitors, man. Who's this?" Um, Pop you in here real quick. Hello there, Wayfarer. Welcome. How are you?
What do you call me? That's not my name.
Oh, okay. What is your name?
I'm pretty sure you can see it. It's Farouk.
Oh, okay. And can you state your purpose for tuning in?
In where?
The reason for the call in, man. Have you had a paranormal experience? Have you
Oh,
encountered
yeah,
strange?
yeah, yeah. Yes, I have. Because I live in Jordan. It's Arabic country.
Okay,
And we
tell your
believe
story,
in,
traveler.
we believe in jinn. Jinn, it's basically ghost. It's basically ghost, a jinn.
Hmm.
And what happened is one time, me and my friends, we're walking. We're not walking, but we were on our bikes, bicycle, around the compound. I lived in a compound with my other friend who was from Lebanon. And in this compound, houses are arranged side by side. And in one of the houses, one of my mom's friends live in. They were away, so they were in. I don't know. They were for holiday, I think. But what me and my friend also saw, I think I noticed first. What happens? We saw like all dark man, just like peeping, like it has his half his body going behind the wall. And I think it was me who noticed first. I kind of like my eyes are playing, my eyes are deceiving me. But then my friend, he said, "Do you see that too?" I said, "See what?" And he kind of moves his eye to the direction where it is. I say, "Yeah." He says, "Can we go?" He says, "Yeah, let's go."
In
Now,
your culture, do you have like shaman and elders who practice these types of arts, like
well, in every
capturing
culture,
capturing of
there's
the
always witches and black magic people.
yeah, like
But
there should be a
because I'm Muslim, in Islam, we have people who do magic, which is haram, but people still do it. Even in
right.
Afghanistan, we have the same kind of people. Like my mom's friend, who's in Afghanistan, she had black magic done on her.
How about the creation of a homunculus?
About what?
The creation of a homunculus, internal or external, paradimensional. Do
Oh,
you guys
what?
practice this?
I don't know about this. I don't know
Do you
about what
practice
you're
the
talking
manufacture
about.
of the golem?
I don't know about
Gol-
this.
you don't know golem?
Golem?
Golem.
Golem.
Demon.
Can you spell it? Golem.
Golem. Yeah, you could try to spell it. I don't tell me
Uh,
more. So, this shadow being, did you have any interaction with the shadow being? Were any
no,
words transmitted? Was there
me and
any
my
form of
friend and
telepathy or
me and my friend,
revelation? Or what
me
did
and
you
my
pull
friend,
from?
his little
What did
brother
you
just
learn?
saw it.
What did you learn
Sorry,
from the
what I learned is that it didn't do anything. It was just staring at us.
No, you guys didn't summon it. You didn't banish it. You didn't try to
No, it's haram to interact with all these creatures.
channel
I
it.
mean,
See what
and
see what
we were still little kids. We were still little kids. So what do you want us to do?
No, I don't know. Okay, it's a good one. It's a good one. Any others? Any
I
others?
have one, but from my family. I think it's my mom and my uncle.
Okay. Do tell. How
Because
old were
they
you?
used to be
When was it?
they this was in Indonesia if I was born. Because my mom's Indonesian. And what happened was they used to live in this old house that my mom says that she always felt, a bad presence. My mom always believed in like spirits and like all these things like that. And one night when they were going upstairs on the roof, with she was with her sibling. They heard like a laugh, like a very iconic. In Indonesia, we have what's called a kultilanak, which is a kind of a woman ghost. Of I think the story is about a woman who died giving birth or who died while pregnant. It's like a vengeful spirit. What happened is that they were hearing laughing, like a woman laughing, and after that they just ran inside.
Okay. Yeah, those
And
brief encounters of the paranormal type, um, they can lead to other things later, though, right? Some sort of psychological after effect. Were there
that's
anything learned?
that's why
Have you
we
heard?
always
Have
that's
you had
why
communications
in
or
Islam
learning
we
of
always say prayers.
teachings from dreamland? Do you see things while dreaming? Are you a dreamer?
I used to have like when I was really young. I used to have like uh, what's the dream you always have again and again and again.
Yeah, recurring dream.
Recurring dreams,
Yeah, what
reoccurring
was it?
dreams. I maybe it's because I was when I was young. I was always watching like was it Slender Man and horror stuff. But I had a dream. This was in Nigeria, and it developed into what's it called when you're dreaming but you're awake and you cannot move. I forgot the name. Like you're
Paralysis.
awake, yeah, paralysis. It had this dream and then it became paralysis. It's probably just me being a kid and always watching this. But the first dream, I think it was me and my friends running away from this tall white figure. I assumed Slenderman because I was always a fan of the game when I was young. And then it would develop into was it me? It become more gruesome. Me having to defend ourselves from the creature, and then it would be happening this same dream over and over again. And sometimes in the same dream, I'd have to do it twice or three times or four times. And the last one, the last dream I had, it was a paralysis dream where I was in my bed. It was morning and I didn't have school, so my mom already left. It was morning and my mom already left. And I woke up, uh, and it was right in front of me on the bed, on my foot, basically, just staring at me. And I woke up and it disappeared. That's my stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Are you still there? Tell me some of your thoughts as well on how about spiritual cultivation in your tradition? Do you have any specific um, rites or items that are ubiquitous that you feel are valuable for anyone in their spiritual practice?
Well, first thing, because I'm Muslim, and in Islam, interacting with any spirit, like any spirits, it's forbidden, 100%, no matter for what reason. But still, there are people who practice these black magics, and what they often do for like always negative purposes. Usually what would happen is that the ghost will tell them to was it humiliate or mock the religion to gain their approval, to show that okay, they really want to follow me. So what they're doing is they're trying to please the ghost, and then after that the ghost will do their things, or they'd make black magic, like they take hair of animals and they tie together, or they tie knots and then they blow spells into it, and then they put it in like the pillow of someone, or they dig a hole next to a house and bury it there to affect the people living there.
Yeah, that's a very interesting type of folk magic. I can appreciate that. Um, However, wouldn't you guys have a prohibition against that type of sorcery, especially something for a non?
100%. So when people do this in the religion, they said that they're not Muslim. They're was it they're mushrik. They're was it they're how do I explain it? Sure. Uh, they're associating things that or doing things that God has said no, you cannot do that. That's why we say that they're not Muslim. They're black magic witches.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Chinese esoteric Taoist views of these types of magic and self cultivation? You know what's
Mm,
going on in the Chinese system?
I'm not educated on that.
Well, they would express a belief in, the one divine God as well, but the spiritual obligation would be within the individual, that you're imbued with an alchemical formula by your creation in the material sphere, and you're endowed with spirit, just as in your tradition, right? But it's your requirement to honor your ancestors and yourself and your future generations, to
I get
cultivate
it.
to cultivate
I
that
get.
inter that cultivate that internal energy that starts maybe as lead, through a process into silver and into gold. So you want to create pure spiritual gold with your character, which means you're very adaptable and malleable, and encompass your inner virtue. And by doing that, your immortal soul gains a level, so to speak, through this incarnation of this lifetime, and you level up, and you can have greater spiritual power in heaven, and in the timeless homeland, the place of all of our creation.
I think the difference is because in Islam, God has already put a rule set on how you should worship me. Every every day you have to pray 5 times a day. You should do ablution before you pray. You should always be remembering God. You should always be making sure you speak good, and you should always try to seek knowledge of the religion. But I
Yeah,
think the difference is that um, what did you say about the Chinese? I couldn't hear you properly. That
they also
it
have
was.
they also have like they have more of a pantheon of gods, though. They have the highest god, right, which is the top god, and then they have a pantheon of divine spirits in various hierarchies, similar to the Western system. And in fact, in our Western mystery tradition, in ceremonial magic, we do pray 4 times per day, once for each of the 4 quarters of the day. So at midnight, at dawn, at noon, and at sunset. So similar, but not five. Why the additional fifth time? How is that organized on the timeline?
Actually, when the story is of how he got the prayers, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, what happened is that the angel Gabriel, you see in Arabic, Jibril, he took him on a mythical creature called the Burak, which is it's a kind of horse thing where it flew the speed of light. He came from Mecca, Saudi Arabia, to Al Quds, Jerusalem, where he rose up to the heavens, and God said to him that this is how you should pray, and you must pray 40 times a day actually. Then when he was coming down, the Prophet Abraham, in Arabic we say Ibrahim, peace be upon him, he said, how come I give you 40? Ask him to reduce the amount. Then he asked to God to reduce it, and he kept going back and forth until he got the 5 prayers. Then after again, Abraham said that you should ask God to reduce it again because the Abraham is the prophet of the Jews. Then they pray 3 times a day. He said, my God said to my people to pray 3 times a day, but then they didn't pray. So tell God to reduce the amount of prayers. But then when he went again, God said, no, 5 is a good number. And actually, the times we pray is before the sun sets, which is called Fajr in Arabic, before the sun sets. Then we have
Mm.
Dhuhr, which is after the sun has during because there's 3 times we're not allowed to pray. First is when the sun is rising. Second is when the sun is setting, and third when the sun is directly above. Those are the 3 times we cannot pray, because in the past this is how the idolaters and the pagans were praying. So we pray before the sun sets, and duhur is at the noon, but not when the sun is directly up. Then uh, uh, there's what's it called, asr, which is afternoon, which the scholars differentiate between the time. But if you were to put a stick on the ground, the shadow would be the same as the height of the stick. And in the Hanafi school of thought, I think it's like the shadow will be 2 times longer or something.
Okay.
Then we have Maghrib. Maghrib is which is when the sun has completely set, so you couldn't see the sun. And Isha is when that you cannot see the light of the sun at all. That's how the 5 daily prayers are organized.
Okay. And Do you think that that specifically applies to your people? Like, do you think the Chinese, in their original system of Tao, do you think they should adapt and acclimate to what you guys you believe, or do you think that that's something you guys alone should cultivate?
Well, obviously, in the religion, we believe that we believe that if anyone has heard the message of Islam and he has heard it properly, but he decides to ignore, he will be judged as a disbeliever and he will go to hell. But if he wasn't given the message of Islam, or at least it wasn't given properly, then he'll be judged differently, maybe by his good actions or things like that. Like even now, we have people who don't know about Christianity or Judaism, which is the I think the Sentinelese people. God is
Mm.
not going to judge them the same as a person who has internet. He researched about this but still disbelieved because these people, they don't have internet. They don't know, they don't know about the religion. So God is obviously going to judge them differently. But whether this other people should follow the same way, well, we believe that Islam is the only true religion. So obviously they should be following Islam.
Yeah,
You get
that
me?
that 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 poses a problem for everyone else, though, because I don't know, your guys' population is only a certain percentage of the world population,
Like two
and
billion.
to say like our races and ethnicities teaching and history is more important than anyone else's. I mean, that's a
Hold on,
little
my
bit
cat is doing
that's
some
a little that's a
mischief.
little bit it's a little bit
Walter.
arrogant. It's a little bit arrogant, you know. Like, we have the one true teaching of God. I think as a rational modern individual, it's very hard to say that. I mean, for in approaching me anyway, because I have a very diverse background. Like, I was raised in
Sorry about
esoteric.
that. My cat
Oh,
was
yeah, it's
being
okay.
naughty.
I was raised in esoteric Christianity, and I studied Jewish mysticism. And additionally, I was initiated into the Rosicrucians and the Temple of Astarte and the Temple Orientis, in addition to the Universal Society of the Integral Way, which is a exclusively Taoist organization. And our beliefs are totally different, that are based and rooted in our belief in much more ancient teaching that the Chinese pictograms for their people specifically, and those who adapt to that system, go back, anywhere from 6 to 8,000 years, on par with the Sumerian tablets. So even the Sumerians, their tablets predate the prophecy of Muhammad. So I find it, like, I mean, just from you have to understand our perspective, like, especially me, a person with a very diverse perspective. Like, I can honor Christ through his teaching of the alchemical marriage and the crucifixion and this inner transformation. But at the same time, I can also honor the Taoist pantheon of Yuan Shi Tianzun, which is like the equivalent of a Western god, but I won't mention its name, and their pantheon. And especially, they have a system of 8 spirits. Like, you talk about jinn or genie, we believe much more strongly in these spirits, and we use them for our own self cultivation and in aiding people in society. Like, one set of jinn are the 80 mortals. They're called the Ba Xian, and we believe that in connecting with each of their powers, it helps enliven a part of our own spiritual journey. And for us, there are no Arabic sources to influence our original mythos and cosmology and cosmology. So, I mean, I don't know, me personally, and most people, I don't think that's a rational approach to that message. I can entertain it and listen to it and learn about it. And if I feel like it fits with what I've already established, my own understanding, it could never usurp it. We must be self-commanding first and foremost. And if we are the children of the divine, if that means anything at all, then we're occurring sui generis of its will. And if I'm a direct manifestation of God's will, then he's guiding me already. And other human beings, their opinion, should not follow that. I should follow the truth of the golden light that's revealed to me on my journey, because my journey's been a good one. And I've appreciated the teaching that I've been able to understand and represent. It includes, internal Chinese Kung Fu, Qigong, all kinds of dietary practices, all types of poetry and art, and everything an entire culture can represent. And the Chinese people would never like abandon and just follow an exclusively Muslim God. That's not something that could ever happen to the 1.4 billion people that live here. So I mean, how would you reconcile that? Like entire portions of the population that just that they can learn about it historically and even intellectually, but maybe not buy into it hook, line, and sinker.
Here's the thing. Now, actually, Islam didn't start with Muhammad. The word Islam comes from salim, which means to submit one's will to God, to sacrifice himself to God. Islam actually started
Yeah,
with Adam, the first man on earth, Adam and Eve. We say Adam and Hawa. They're actually the first Muslims, and even Abraham is a Muslim. Jesus Christ is the Muslims. But what we see is that they're just prophets of God. We actually don't believe that Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, died on the cross. Nor do we believe he's God himself. What we believe is that he was risen up to heaven, and rather
right. And
someone else
I can understand
someone
that.
else died.
Yeah, I can accept that.
Yeah, but actually
Go ahead.
for the spiritual things like that, we do have a lot of spiritual things in the religion. For example, we believe in the what's called the Qarin, which is basically a mimic of ourself, also classed as a jinn. But it's this jinn that's always with us, and depending if you've been a good Muslim or a bad Muslim, it will lead you to good decisions or sin. If you're a bad person, it'll always be trying to deceive you in trying to do things God doesn't want. But if you've been a good Muslim and you've stayed steadfast, the Kareem will also become Muslim. Hold on, my cats! Oh my gosh! Again, excuse me. Walter.
Yeah, do your thing, man. Boop. All right. Yeah, I don't know that much about it, honestly, guys. So I can't pontificate too much, and I don't want to be in any way offensive to other people's belief systems. But all of these things, at the end of the day, they're all reality tunnels that we create. I would recommend you to read books by the illustrious Dr. Bob or Robert Anton Wilson. One book in specific that he
Sorry,
just
sorry, I'm back. Sorry about that.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, one I was recommending a book that it has proven very useful in the lives of many, but especially in my development of my understanding as a young man. It's a book by Robert Anton Wilson called Prometheus Rising, and you're probably familiar with some of our mythos too, like Prometheus brought down the fire from God and enlightened man in the areas of technology. So on the Tree of Life, he represents the Hod energy and that part of the lightning flash expression. But
Yeah, in Islam we don't believe all these things. Rather, what we believe is what has been revealed in the book
right, but you got to think too. I mean, that's what was revealed to
of the
your
Prophet.
people, whereas
With
these other stories are what was revealed to our people. So like um, we're going to believe the ones that we have, and you guys are going to believe the ones that you have, and that should be okay. Like you should be able to accept that other people have other beliefs, and I think some of you do. I don't know some like
100%. We should
I believe
we should respect.
yeah.
We should we should respect uh, others people's belief, but at the same time we should be steadfast in what we believe. And like in Islam, we don't really believe in reincarnation, all these spirits. We believe in the unseen, what has been told by God, and what the Prophet has conveyed, and what has been affirmed by God by the previous messages the Prophet has given. But what we follow is the Quran and the Sunnah. That's what we believe in.
And how many and which prophets are those? Like, do they include Ezekiel and Enoch and John the Baptist? And I mean, which of the ones of the
Uh,
historic?
I know that what I know is that Abraham and Jesus they're also prophets. Moses, there's actually the list of prophets. Let me show you. So,
Yeah, let me know.
here, can I share my screen?
I
How do I?
don't know how to allow you to do it. Let's see.
I think if I just
Yeah,
share,
I think you
you can
can, but
already
I feel
see, right? Can you see?
yeah, I can see it now. Go ahead and pop it in.
So let me just go to Wikipedia.
Oops.
But just there's hundreds of prophets. We have Adam, Idris, which is equivalent to Enoch, Hermes, or
And Adam would be the
these
first
people.
man, like Yadan.
Adam is the first person. Adam's the first person. We have the messenger and ark prophets. Ark prophets are like Noah, Moses, Abraham, Jesus Christ,
And
Muhammad, things like that.
what's the yes no represent? Oh, messenger.
Messenger, and then there's ark prophet. Ark prophet is like um, Noah, Moses, Jesus, Abraham.
Okay.
So we have Abraham, Lot, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Job, Moses, Aaron, David, Solomon, Elijah, Elisha, Jonah. We have this one Dul Kifl that we don't know, but it's been suggested it can be Ezekiel, Isaiah, Obadiah, or even the Buddha. And one thing is that every nation has been um, given a messenger, and even here John the Baptist, it was Yahya. Have
Who would
Jesus,
have
Isa,
who would have
and
been
then
the
Muhammad.
messenger? Who would have been the messenger to China?
We don't know because we what has been revealed in the Quran is the messengers that were in the area. We don't know about the messengers in the Americas or Africa, but we do know that in our book of our region it has been messages from the region. But here's the thing: we believe that every nation has had a messenger, but we just don't know what the messenger is. And what we believe is the other books have been corrupted, but the Quran has been uncorrupted. And but what we know is that Muhammad was sent as mercy to the earth, so in the entire earth, so that Muhammad was the last messenger, and he was sent to all of humanity. Even here, it says Islam's prophet sent to all humanity and jinn, which is the spirits. Then we also have those whose prophethood is debated, like Seth, Caleb, Joshua, Qadir. It's a different person. Luqman from Ethiopia, Samuel, Saul or Gideon. All these people.
Very good. That's quite a few.
But we have
How
I
does
think it's
how does
99
the how does the
prophets.
Egyptian pantheon fit in to this understanding? Is it considered? Are the ancient gods of Egypt, are they considered in this
No,
cosmology?
but no, but what we believe is that I believe
Stories of
Moses was
Osiris and
on.
Isis.
No, we don't believe in those stories. But
Oh
what we do
wow!
believe is that Moses was challenged by the Pharaoh, and he split the sea and killed the Pharaoh, the Pharaoh.
Right, and it
And
was Moses' job to enlighten the Pharaoh to the one God, right?
yeah, but then the Pharaoh challenged him, saying, "No, I am God. Let me build a tower so high so that I can see it," and then so and so
All
and
right,
so,
Tower of
and then
Babel.
split the sea and then drowned the Pharaoh. And what's actually interesting is that in the Quran it says that they will preserve the body of the Pharaoh as a message to mankind, and now we have the body of the Pharaoh.
Do you think that President Barack Obama of the United States was a genetic clone of the original Pharaoh?
I don't know about this. I'm not much of
I
like
heard
those
I
conspiracy
heard they
theories
took
in
I,
politics.
I heard they took the DNA from the ancient mummy of Ramses and cloned out Barack Obama. That's speculation though. That's just high octane conspiracy stuff. I'm being playful. Okay, good. Yeah, so the prophets and all of this is very, very serious and important teaching. I respect that absolutely, and many great books on the practice of what in our tradition is more considered to be angelic magic and the communion with the archangels, right? Invoking them at each turn of the day. So Gabriel before me, and or Raphael before me, Gabriel behind me, Michael at my right hand, and Uriel at my left.
Actually, we have a very similar belief in that too. That
Angels,
for
as it
those
were,
who
as real.
make prayers and are steadfast, that God will send 40 angels to protect them from all sides. We don't know which specific angel, but we know that God will send 40 angels to protect this person. And even there were stories that during the first Islamic battle, the Battle of Badr, which was between the Muhammad and his army and the pagans of Mecca. There were 300 in numbers, and the pagans were 1,000, and they had plenty of camels and horses. But what happened is that they won, not only because from the permission of God, but also I think maybe 700 or 7,000 angels were also fighting on that day, and there were narrations that soldiers were being lifted in the air and slammed onto the ground by the angels, and the angels were whipping them, and the enemy's face would turn green from the whippings, which is and many of the authentic the narrations, which we call in Arabic hadiths, they're counted as sahih, as authentic. It's many people have said this, like, how do you know the pyramids and of Egypt and the Pharaoh existed? Because there was mass narrations of people, mass transmissions. So because of that, we know that this is real. And on the Battle of Badr, there was also many narrations that this has happened. So we know that this is real, or at least it is authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Um, well, there are different ways to approach the same. There's an old Buddhist, and I'm not big on Buddhism. Don't get me wrong. I prefer my Chinese Taoism, but there's a Buddhist analogy that Allah or God is at the center of the divine kingdom, and all of the different peoples take different ways to get towards that source. Like if you're in China, then you go through the Chinese system and try to arrive at that spiritual center. And you may or may not follow the exact. See, I think the main difference is that you guys are very specific in the way things must be done. But in some of the other systems I've studied, they also believe that their system is the correct way to get to that divine spiritual source at center. To that
Oh yes,
original
in Islam,
original.
there's this kind of the what we call the mystics,
Right.
which we call the Sufis. The Sufis.
Yeah.
Now, the Sufis believe through their personal acts they can get closer to God. But what's it? The Salafi, those who strictly follow the Quran, the Sunnah, and the companions of the prophets and the three generations, they only follow this very strict and more was it literal interpretations. All the Sufis, they believe as long as you have a pure intention of getting closer to God, any action you do in the name of God will be rewarded, and that's how you get closer. While other things say, no, God has uh, put this way, you should worship Him this and that. So there's many was it spectrum of how strict and how spiritual Muslims can be. I'm more on the stricter side. I see
I
myself
have
as
a I have a
Salafi.
I have a follow-up question in this because I pray more than 4 times per day. I'm a living prayer to my God, of course. But like the way I understand that highest name, like I don't know it as Allah, but I can accept that idea, right? We have other names like Abraxas and Yahweh and Yun Shi Tian Zun. So like in the
And here's
Chinese,
the thing: it's not just a
in the,
name, but
yeah,
Allah in Arabic just means God. And you know
right.
what language Jesus spoke? Aramaic.
Um,
And you know how they said God in Aramaic? Allah
no.
also. We believe in the same God of Christianity, the Father who sent Jesus down. And
Mhm.
in Judaism, Yahweh that had Moses to be. Was it Moses or Abraham? I forgot.
Okay.
For Judaism,
Well, for example, in
I
the Chinese
forgot.
pantheon, they have a different name, but they have that same idea in their system. Like their highest god is called Yun Shi Tian Zun, which means like primordial or original being, like the first being who manifested in our universe. And that's the creator. After that mind, that original mind, came all things. And I think it's very similar to our um, cosmological approach, our cosmological approach that of this development of everything. But I think the interpretation and the wording is different. Like the Chinese, they had their own unique original language, developed from pictographs, and so they would say those things in their own language. Even it would sound like, what is? Do you know the Chinese word for Allah?
Yahweh, right?
No, I don't know. I've never asked. I've never learned it. I've never looked it up in a dictionary. It's probably something like Yala or something. Their pronunciation system is different. But I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
but it's not the
when
name
they,
of Damaris, but the identity of this god. Some believe that there's multiple gods and there's one uh, center, or or some people believe that there's only
and
one god,
also,
eternal,
al-
all powerful, all knowledgeable.
and also from your guys, from your histories, your teachings, your cultural teachings, would you say that, like, so even would the Chinese language have come from the Tower of Babylon, and like when God split the languages, that would be its source somehow, right?
I'm not very educated. I'm still a layman on the religion, but I have heard people say that God split the languages, but
Yeah, I
I'm not
knew that
educated on this yet.
from
But
childhood. Yeah.
what we believe is only what has been
What
given
what
in the
what do you
Quran
guys
or
think?
what the Prophet has said.
What do you think of Nebuchadnezzar? Do you think he was a big old badass?
Who?
Nebuchadnezzar, is that his? I don't know how you say his name in Arabic.
Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've never heard about this man.
What about your? Do you give mad props and respect to David and Solomon? Solomon's magic, the building of the temple.
Well, I
What
remember
is
that
what is your what is your
I'm not
personal
sure if it
perspective?
was Solomon, but I believe Solomon was the one who had a big. He could talk to the spirits, right?
Right?
Correct.
They say that he trapped 72 spirits in his brass vessel and used their energy to create the temple. That's the story I learned. I
But
mean,
I remember one time is that
when I think about
when a
Solomon,
caravan of like kings or princesses or queens, I don't remember, but were coming to Solomon, and one of the jinns was a very powerful jinns. We have specific kinds of jinn, but there's this one that's very powerful. He said to Solomon, he went to the palace and brought this throne of the queen or the princess or the king and brought it to where Solomon was. And when the princess or the queen, I forgot, but when they arrived and they saw the throne and asked, "How did you get this?" He said, "Through the jinns, because God gave me the ability to be able to talk to the spirit and be able to command them." And I think also Solomon could also was able to communicate with the animals, with the ants and things like that.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like mastery of all elements in the
Yeah,
material sphere. And Adam had the same power. Adam had the command over everything in the garden, and right, he had he had it all, man, and threw it away on a woman and a poisoned apple. Not a good idea. What do you think about those stories personally, though? Like, do they resonate with you? Do you feel like, wow, I can connect with that spiritual journey of our tradition? It's very
well, when I
powerful.
read the stories, I can really see how I can really what it see how this could be very important in one's life. I can change my life
Imagine,
and listen to the stories and the morals about these stuff.
right? Derive
You
their
know,
wisdom, their morals, yeah,
mm,
their moral
correct,
guidance, and it creates a moral compass within you where you can live to emulate the lives of your ancestors, the great prophets,
mm,
and follow the same path towards liberation and salvation in this realm. It's very
correct,
good.
correct, correct.
It's a very good understanding. I can appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and it's fun talking to you. I don't have much time left though, so thank you for joining the show and thank you for tuning in. It's your name, by the way, Wanderer. What is
Farouk,
your name? Say again.
Farouk, F A
Farouk.
R
Okay.
O U K.
Yeah. I've met a Farouk previously, and I believe he was also from Jordan, and very. a very elegant man and achieved a high position in society here in Beijing. What city are you in? Are you in the main city, like the capital city?
Yeah, I mean, Amman,
Amman. Okay. Awesome.
the
Very
capital
good.
of Jordan.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I'm in the capital of my country, and I'm not originally from the capital of my country, though. I'm from Los Angeles, Southern
Uh,
California. Yeah, and
and what's your religion, by the way?
my
You're
ancestry
Christian?
my ancestry is German, and so I was raised Lutheran. Do you know what who Martin Luther was?
Like the black human activist,
No,
right?
no,
Right
no,
activist.
not the black guy. Um, the German guy who took the Bible from the Catholics and gave it to the
Or
common
like
man.
Christian Lutheran. I've heard about it. I've heard about it.
Right, Martin Luther. He that's what the Luther. So we're very close to the Amish and the Mennonites. Like we try not to use as much technology, like limit your use of car and electricity and this kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And also we have some fast days, like we do some fasting and much spiritual revelry, like singing of hymnals and learning of the ancient prophets and so on. But it was meant to be at the individual level, like not under the control of the main idea of the Lutheran in the Christian tradition was breaking away from the Catholic Church and
Okay,
their
I
control,
see.
yeah, and their control of the Bible, because they believe they had the only correct translation of the Bible, and then you guys have the Quran, and then the Jews, they only
They have
honor
the Torah,
the Torah, right? And so the
The
Germans,
Talmud, thing like that. Yeah, yeah.
The German people were introduced to all of it, to the one God, and their pagan systems were transformed into the 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 other revelations, right? So Martin Luther, yeah, he did good work in that capacity. I believe. I mean, that's the way I was raised. So
Because the Islamic belief of the previous texts is that they were sadly corrupted since after their death that they people were starting to change their meanings, and even in the translation, the was it what's a popular, I forgot the name. Could you just tell me on one of the Bible translation? I think it's
King James
the
version,
King James. Yeah, the King James version. He was with the Catholic Church, I believe, right? King
right?
James. Yeah, he was changing of the meanings to, like for example, the word tyrant wouldn't appear, as he didn't want his group of translators didn't want people to like really uh, see that they're in this position where they're controlled by tyrants and would like to revolt using the Bible, the word of God, to go against them. So they were changing a lot of the words and the meanings. Because you know what the oldest Bible we have is? It's Greek. That's the oldest Bible that there is. It's Greek. The New
Okay,
Testament is Greek, and
right,
the language that Jesus spoke was Aramaic. So we
right.
have the translation, but not the literal book, But the Quran, it was revealed in Arabic, and we have the original Arabic text now that has been standardized by Uthman, and we have also pieces of the Quran that were dated to the time of the Prophet and also to the caliphs. We have the Birmingham, the Sana Quran, and we also have the translations which have been studied by hundreds of scholars and not to be changed for their own meanings, but to be given a literal to change it correctly on what it means.
Okay, it's very good. Well,
It was
I mean,
nice. It was nice talking to you.
yeah, absolutely, very nice
I
meeting you.
I have to go now. It's time for me to pray my Asr prayer, the afternoon prayer. It was nice
Okay, yeah,
meeting
sure.
you. I'll
Okay.
sub, I'll put a subscribe so anytime you're live I can come and meet you.
And do you do live transmissions on your channel as well, or?
No, but I've been thinking since I've studied enough, and one of the greatest things to do, what we have in Islam is called sadaqah, which when a person, like for example, when a person dies and they've been doing bad deeds, they've been asking the Lord to for them to come back so they can do sadaqah, which is deeds that last for a long time. For example, building a mosque every time the person donates to build a mosque, every time someone prays in it, even if the person is dead, he'll get deeds in the grave because someone's using that mosque for to get closer to God, or someone who puts a video explaining Islam or the Quran. Even if the guy died, he'll still be getting deeds in the grave because someone's watching the video and he's benefiting from it. You know what I'm saying? So I've been
Okay.
really thinking about opening a channel to educate people. So
Yeah, definitely.
not only to get deeds myself, but to help other people get closer to God.
Yeah, and create a basic outline, a syllabus of instruction, and yeah, give periodic
Yes, yes,
lessons.
yes.
I would tune in. I would appreciate that. Very nice to meet
Thank
you,
you, thank you.
Farouk. How do you say like not goodbye, but like bless your way or whatever in your native language?
Oh, what we would say to someone, it mean translation would mean peace be on you or peace be unto you. We'd say assalamu alaikum, and you'd respond to wa alaikum or wa alaikum salam, which means to your and peace be upon you.
Okay.
You'd
Walaikum
say
salam,
assalamu alaikum,
aslamu alaikum, and walaikum
assalamu
salam,
alaikum, alaikum
aslamu
salam. Yes, alaikum.
alaikum salam,
Or responding, say wa alaikum salam, wa alaikum salam.
wa alaikum salam. Okay, very
Yes,
good. Thank you
correct.
for that. Farouk,
Thank you.
have a wonderful evening or whatever time of day you're at, and thank you for joining us. See you
You
next
too.
time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. I have only got a few minutes to wind down the show here, so I'll just make a few mentions out. Right, we're practicing the Scholar Warrior. Join me on the challenge. Right, 100. The 100-day challenge is all about 100 consecutive days, and I might be able to do a challenge based on the Muslimic beliefs. I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't coincide with everything we do. You know, we always want to do a challenge, so it's just 100 consecutive days of effort towards learning a new thing, right? In this session, it was about learning the way of the scholar warrior, which is about balancing your philosophical understanding with your physical attributes and your warrior capabilities. You know, you may be called to duty at any time to pursue the path of the warrior. So to do something to focus on and learning something new about that every day for 100 days in a row. So we could definitely do a 100-day challenge with like a prayer challenge. You know, that would be a lot of fun. Um, and if you've ever enjoyed the content or felt like you benefited and feel like you want to put a little lead in my pencil, a little sugar in my coffee, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday, all that fun stuff. And of course, we have an inner order at Lunar Light Entertainment Discord where I, self appointed, am Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, the Eastern Star division, and you can find that on the Lunar Light Entertainment Discord. Thank you for joining us this evening, guys. It's been a fun transmission. Good to see all of you. Free gift from God. You got anything you got coming at me, amigo, out there in Happy Land? That was just a couple of minutes ago. You gave me a shout out. So if you're still there, um, be quick because I'm about to run. Shaikh Amya says during Ramadan you could fast. We fast from sunrise to sundown for 30 to 31 days. Yeah, that's a big deal. Need to go. Bye. See you. Welcome. Fredo Francis, Jersey Devil. Anything happening, man? You need a magic spell sent your way, a gin captured in a bottle and brought over, a healing gin of spirit wine and other alchemical elixirs to soothe your soul. You need to be careful, man. You need to stay well and chat with me on the Discord if you're still going to be up for a while. Um, Free gift from God. Yeah, that would be fun. I gotta go though, man. Into the abodes of the future I head. Ad astra per aspera. Memento mori for beloved Frater Tomas. Still grieving over that a little bit. I mean, forever grieving the loss of brothers along the way. Freighters within the order. Definitely a tragic blow. But good looking out to all of you and good magic until I see you next time. Signing off. Bye for now.